Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So, as you guys well know, Matty Boy and I love a training aid more than most.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we have collected over the years, many different ones, and enjoyed them all.
There has been one particular training aid that has dominated my Instagram feed, that's for sure.
Yeah, you cannot go 2 clicks or 1 swipe without seeing the ProSendr.
The ProSendr. So, developed by PGA Tour coach and our good friend David Woods at the Vintage Club, designed the ProSendr with his good friend Sean Foley, world-renowned teacher, coach, and they've been working on, just different tools that golfers can use to help make the learning process a little bit more simple, a little bit more efficient, and that's where obviously the ProSendr was born.
Yeah, it's a smart idea, I think. I mean, of all the years we've done this, we've had some handicap golfers in to do fittings.
Yeah.
So often an issue that they'll have is wrist conditions. That was like our first one we ever did with Sam. Wrist conditions was his nightmare. He presented so much law. So that's getting addressed with this wrist cradle, which we'll show you after.
Yeah.
Wrist conditions is one of the biggest things to get right. That's in there.
For sure.
Connection, obviously keeping the arms and elbows working together is kind of addressed with that sphere there.
Our little compression sphere.
Which is cool that it velcros right onto the wristband. It's not anything complicated to put on. You just strap a wristband on. So I think when it comes to the priorities you would have for a high handicap or mid handicap player, even a good player, I mean, this seems to address some of the big ticket items.
It really, really does. And the difference, guys, with the ProSendr is Sean and David have worked with Dr. Will Wu, who's a motor control learning expert. And what the ProSendr does is it guides the wrist conditions, the hands, the arms, into the right position. It incentivizes you to make the correct movement patterns. That's the key. It's different if you've got, there's lots of different, aids out there, training gadgets that are fantastic, but ones that force you into a position, different things
like if you had an elbow strap, for example, that doesn't work because your arms are trying to do this.
Exactly.
Whereas with the sphere or a smart ball, they're trying to actually compress.
Yeah.
And then that motor pattern is learned that way.
Exactly. So when you start in that position, Matty, and then make your backswing, you don't start in that position. So it's certainly not holding you in place.
Right.
So when you work into that position, then it's basically incentivizing you to make contact with the cradle.
Yes.
And then keep it there, which helps, shallowing, which helps forward shaft lean, and putting the club in that position, guys. And this really is the key to it. When you put the golf club in that position, the body starts to react and rotate and pivot completely differently than if you have that club steepening, where you're either going to steep chop across it. That's the slicer out there who knows their club head speed is good, but their efficiency is bad. Or there's the player who gets it steep, then this is me, gets it steep and then goes, well, I'm not in the right position. I shallow through tilting my body, and that's where it brings in some misses left and right.
You still have to do a bit of work, like you said. You have to compress the ball. You have to get the trail wrist touching the cradle.
Exactly.
And maintain the contact for, I guess, as long as you can.
And the thing is, it's not tethered where you have to use it all together.
Yes.
We can just do, like smart ball, right? Which we've used many times. You can just use the compression sphere. You can just use the cradle if you want to work on trail wrist conditions or wrist conditions, because ultimately what the trail does, it
would pull this with
guides
it, right?
the lead to move there. Or you do them both together. So you've got kind of 3-in-1
smart
with the ProSendr.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that it has the variety of it. So
definitely.
So you've been fiddling with it a little bit.
I've been using it, yeah.
Yeah, people have seen your Instagram, so you will obviously be the guinea pig today. So what we'll get is obviously just an overview of what it does, but more specifically, we're going to find out what it does for you.
Exactly.
And how it's helping your swing changes that we've been talking about.
Love it. Let's do that.
So we got you strapped in there. We've got the full package. We got the compression sphere also installed. Start with a wedge. Is that kind of how you would normally do a session?
I would start with some little chippy ones, and that's for short game alone. I think the compression sphere is brilliant for short game alone. Just stand there doing some chipping. You even saw some pictures of John Rahm at the weekend. I mean, connection, having the arms and body working together, making sure that you're controlling low point really, really nicely, I think is a great way to start your session. So
yeah, you can really dial in partial wedges nicely with that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Just get really nice little rhythm going with it.
Good. Nice. Good motion there. So would you just you sort of started with the halves? I know you're doing this quickly for the purpose of the video, but you do some half swings, then maybe a little more like 3/4, and then eventually we start hitting the ball with a full-ish swing?
Pretty much, yeah. Just try and build it up, maybe go 5 yards at a time. If you get more time, go 5 yards at a time. Try and go up the ladder a little bit. I just think increasing it in terms of length and speed is kind of a good way to start it, Matty.
Because you've got to be, I would imagine you've got to be at a speed where you can be conscious of that connection point.
Yes.
So if you're moving really quick and your trail hand has never done that before,
extended before.
If it's never done that before and you go, let me grab my 5-iron, hit some, you're screwed.
Definitely.
So some wedges at that pace are allowing you to feel, okay, there's the connection there. I feel a compression sphere, keep my forearms together. Yeah. I can swing through. Like you got it, all these training aids, you have to start slow. That sounded great.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
How are you feeling like your rotation in the early going there? Do you feel like it's helping you kind of rotate through?
Yeah, and I really feel it because just knowing my own swing, I feel like on the backswing, I know my right arm's working really nicely because my triceps attached to my kind of rib cage here. Mm-hmm. And then I feel the exact same thing as I rotate through. On my left arm, my triceps attached to my rib cage. Okay. So I tend to kind of get, that disconnection, and then the way through, I get a high exit. So I never really kind of have that nice, rotary motion. All
right, so into the 7-iron, we've got it with full dots. One thing that you struggle with at times is a bit of a toe down impact position. Yeah. So you mentioned that this has kind of been helping that find its way back up to a little bit more level, which just means that you're rotating better, your hands aren't raising, you're not tilting back.
Exactly.
All that stuff.
All those subconscious compensation movements that I have, and even as much as I get it in a nice position, in the backswing, I'm still have a little bit of that extra tilt in there. So, this does just put the club in a position where, to be honest, I don't want to hit 2 feet behind it there.
Yeah.
So, when you get that club in that position, into sort of behind you there, if you don't rotate correctly onto it, you literally will just bottom out there. So my old movement pattern, I will no longer, my body will no longer allow me to make that pattern.
Interesting. Well, let's see how these numbers look. I'm curious.
Well, a little bit harder than a...
It's okay. It looked like a good motion, though.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
Felt good. Felt like it came out the middle of the club. And
it did? Yeah. That's pretty cool right away. You're basically flush.
Yeah.
Just barely. And also, I would say these are kind of your goal numbers, 2.5 in to out, 4 down.
That's it. That's for me. That's exactly what I want.
Incentivized you to make a very good swing.
So a little bit thinner.
Okay.
But actually felt like a better movement.
What I'm observing is I notice that's cool. Toe up. I've never seen you come through the ball with lower looking hands.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Good.
Which is what we're seeing in the numbers. So toe up is obviously not a metric you're generally seeing when you hit balls.
Not used to seeing that, yeah.
And you're kind of staying within this 4-on-4 window. So talk us through just what's the first motion feel like? What is the first checkpoint?
So for me, first checkpoint is some squeeze on the ball.
Okay.
That's the first thing for me.
You want to feel
that? Compress that golf ball because that to me is then going, okay, arms are going to then sync up to the body.
Yep.
So that's kind of my first motion. And once that's locked in place, as you know, Matty, I struggle in backswing tempo. So I know that once I'm in there, I can then go straight into basically the motion quicker. Much, much quicker. Yep. Because, I've got connection and I've got 2 positions. So I've got point A, point B, where I can get the trail elbow to fold and then the wrist, the trail wrist into extension where it sits in the cradle.
At what point do you feel that your trail wrist makes contact with the cradle?
So that's a really good point. For me, because I do it late, I try and feel it by, about left arm parallel.
Okay, cool.
Then I can start sort of as the arms get towards the top, I can start that transition down.
Yeah.
That gets it, I've still got the trail wrist in that position. That gets it nice and shallow. Obviously, club head, trail in the hands.
Very.
Then I can just rotate onto it nicely.
Yeah.
And just collect the ball on the way through.
That's great.
Yeah. You can take 10 lessons and really struggle to find yourself in the positions that this will get you into.
Yeah.
One thing that I scratch my head at times is when people talk about cost of a training aid.
True.
You know, this is the cost of one lesson.
It is one lesson.
In the way things are now. If you go to a top coach and take a lesson, which may work for you, it may not, and it's not likely to, stick with you, you're going to have more and more lessons in order to drill it.
You're not going to have the coach every single practice session.
No. Yeah. But here you're going to have, you're going to have this motor pattern that you can continue to drill it every time you go to the range, and you can go, okay, I'm going to build out 3 to 6 months worth of practice based around making good fundamental movements.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
In that sense, the value is very good.
So, interesting. Not a bad swing, the numbers will show it. I felt the ball lose its compression there.
Interesting.
So that's, I think, where I lost the face a little bit more open.
Just a shade.
Yeah.
Yeah, face to pat, 1 degree. I mean, if we were just to make a quick list right now, between the two of us, in summary, who do you think this is good for? To me, it's like, if you present too much dynamic loft, wrist condition is going to help.
Definitely.
If you slice the ball with an open face, that wrist condition is going to help because the face is going to be stronger.
Definitely.
If you have no connection between your turn and your arm swing and you're all out of sync in timing, the compression ball is going to help. It's hard to think of too many things it's not encouraging you to do well.
For me, this is, if I was going to give a beginner, something to put on there and go, okay, go, and let's work in some good fundamentals. I would give them that because I can get their arms and body working together. I can get them to stabilize their club face, and I can get them to understand the value in a correct pivot.
I would say it's definitely one of the best training aids we've seen over the last 5 years.
It encompasses so many different factors, and it really will help you learn the necessary skills to make some pretty good, stable golf swings. Cool
to see that, we talked about your toe down and your face control and all that stuff. Really, it regulated it so well. And this is an abbreviated version of the session. We really didn't let you warm up all that much.
No,
you're still able to see the difference, though.
Well, that's it. And even now, I know standing here now, I've still got all those feels. In my golf swing, I've got the arms that feel like they come together. I can still make that exact same golf swing. So I can get those, nice little draws, level out the dynamic lie angle for me at 0.3 up.
That's cool. Cool to see you do one without it so quickly and get the same result.
Yeah. And that's the way you want to do it. Again, we talked about motor learning and learning new movement patterns. You don't want to only be good with it on. You have to be able to take it off and measure yourself and your progress.
Can't play golf with it on, so you have to learn to do it on your own. Anyway, really cool. I think guys can tell we're both very impressed. It will eventually come in left-handed, and I'm looking forward to taking a crack at it. But it's actually in pre-sale for everything right now. So it is available right-handed. They're pre-selling it. Sounds like it'll ship in March. Give us your feedback. Would it be something you consider picking up for yourself? Do you think it would help you with some of the things you struggle with? Let us know in the comments, and it will not be the last time you see that on the channel. I'm sure you'll see it on our Instagrams, work on the swing, and maybe we can do a follow-up in a few months and just talk about how it's been working for you in your golf swing.
No, we love it.
Okay, great. Guys, thanks for watching. We will see you again soon.